Former Prime Minister John Howard has been appointed a member of the Order of Merit by the Queen. And he says the award was unexpected and had come out of the blue. It's the first time the award has been given to an Australian political figure, and it's considered a personal gift from the Queen. And it places Australia's second longest serving Prime Minister with the likes of Margaret Thatcher, Prince Charles, Sir David Attenborough. Dame Joan Sutherland was granted one, but it's limited, I think I'm right in saying, to only 24 living people. And I'm pleased to say that former Prime Minister John Howard is on the line. Mr Howard, good morning to you. I appreciate your time. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you and all your 2GB listeners.
And congratulations too. It's a great honour. How do you find out about these things?
Well, I was rung by the Queen's private secretary about 10 days ago, and he asked me whether I would accept the appointment. I was actually honoured, and I said yes.
Yeah, no, fabulous honour, because so few of them are handed out, and it's pretty much up to the Queen solely. You said the award is a recognition of the Queen's respect for Australia.
Yes, it is. It's, as well as being a personal honour, I see it very much as another reminder of her ongoing respect for and affection for Australia and Australians. She's always taken tremendous interest in this country, continues to do so, and this is in part a mark of that, as well as obviously being a personal honour for me.
Yeah, and you've always had a good relationship, a working relationship with the Queen?
I have enormous regard for her, and she's a person who has tremendous respect in the Australian community and amongst people who are both in favour of having the monarchy retained and those who are not. Even many people in the latter group hold her in very high regard, and her position of esteem in the Australian community has, if anything, continued to strengthen in recent years.
Was the referendum over the Republic a difficult time for your relationship with the Queen or not?
It wasn't difficult. I mean, at all times through that referendum debate, she did the right thing. She stayed out of it, made it very plain that although she was following the debate closely, that it was a matter for Australia and Australians, and she stayed out of it. The British government, of course, stayed out of it, and the Australian people made a decision. I'm sure at a personal level she was pleased at the outcome, but she respected in a completely scrupulous fashion the fact that it was an independent choice. Of course, Australia's long been a completely sovereign, independent country, and
yes,
the decision that was made was done in that environment and against that background.
Yes, and I'm one who thinks we should be very proud of who we are right now and the history we've had. It's not something we should run away from.
That's my view, and I never disguise that fact. It didn't alter the political fortunes of my government. People take the view on these things that there are a range of opinions, and they'll always give you marks for sticking to what you believe in.
There was some research done for the British government, I think it was last week or the week before, where they said that although there's no danger in it changing in the short term, that eventually it'll be a natural form of progression for Australia to become a republic. Do you see that as necessarily the case?
I don't think anything is inevitable in life except, as Benjamin Franklin famously said, death and taxation. I think it's certainly the case that there is no likelihood of change in the immediate future. I certainly don't think there's any likelihood of change while the Queen remains on the throne, and then after that, well, we have to assess what attitudes are after that. But what has happened since the referendum is that the Australian public has, by and large, lost interest in the issue. I found after 1999, as I went around the country as Prime Minister, people never raised it. They don't raise it now. There are a small number of people, I guess, on both sides of the argument who continue to talk about it, but I don't find any push, even on the progressive left of Australian politics, for a return of the debate. I mean, people properly see Australia as a totally independent country. They have enormous respect for the Queen, and they don't see the association as holding us back. They see it as linking us with our history, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't make permanent predictions. People say to me, what do you think? And I'd say, well, come back and ask me in 10 years' time, and I'll give you my opinion then. All I can say is, as of now, I see no likelihood of change in the near future.
All right, a couple of other issues, and the last thing you probably want to talk about on a public holiday to start a new year is politics, but Paul Keating is one of those who recently came out and said Australia can't, truly exist as its own until it gets away.
I don't think his comments on that issue, shall I put it, merit a response.
No, I was going to move on though, but Paul Keating and Bob Hawke seem to be at each other's throats 30 years on after the floating of the Aussie dollar, with the cabinet papers from 82 and 83 being released. Is it unseemly to have two former Prime Ministers at each other's throats 30 years on?
Look, I don't care to comment on that. I think I'll leave that to others. I'm not really wanting to get into commentary on other matters today, if you don't mind.
All right, well, one that you might wish to is the cricket test, which starts tomorrow at the SCG.
I'd be happy to comment on that. I'll be there tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. It's always a great event. The New Year's test in Sydney. It's been a happy hunting ground for Sachin Tendulkar over the years. Probably his favourite ground in Australia. And the great thing for Australians is that we've really found quite a number of very effective fast bowlers. It shows the depth of cricket talent. And when you think that the young man Cummins who did so very well in South Africa, he's on the sideline, and so we've got plenty in reserve.
I said last week I almost felt unpatriotic. I was disappointed when Tendulkar was dismissed on day 2 in Melbourne, but I'd love to see him get 100 here.
He's a wonderful player, and I think everybody hopes at some point he does get that 100. Of course, he has been a tower of strength in the Indian side for close to 20 years, and a very modest, likeable man into the bargain.
All right, Mr. Howard, I'll let you go. I appreciate your time on a public holiday, but I know Alan's audience would love the chance to hear from you on this day where you've been appointed a member of the Order of Merit.
It's very kind of you to ask me on, and I wish all of your listeners a very happy new year, and thank you very much for asking me.
All right, I hope you have a great year.
Thank you.
John Howard, who has been appointed a member of the Order of Merit by the Queen, only the 9th Australian to win that award.